Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Ortiz, and along Jasmine Lapong and Christine Cuenca, we are Group 25 for LIMB 20. We would like to introduce you to a research project. Imagine a typical conversation between young Filipino friends who, in just one sentence, switch languages seamlessly, blending Filipino and English. This unique mix, often called TAGLISH, is more than just a linguistic quirk. It's a fascinating reflection of culture, identity, and social dynamics. Today, we'll explore how gender, society, and age influence code switching among young Filipino speakers. We'll uncover why some people code switch more than others, why certain words or phrases feel more natural in English or Filipino, and how this linguistic phenomenon mirrors trends we didn't think of before. By the end of this presentation, we hope you'll gain a better understanding of how Taglish isn't just a way of speaking. It's a way into the evolving identities and values of today's Filipino speakers. Our presentation will be divided in 5 separate parts. Of course, we'll start with a little bit of explanation regarding Taglish code switching. We'll do a little bit more detailing on our methods and the research methods that we used. We'll let you know the information that we got, and we'll proceed to analyze it and let you know exactly what we think of it, what our findings were, and we'll be able to give you conclusions and get answers to our research question, and the one that introduces our topic. Based on the strong influence of societal expectations, how does the frequency of use of code switching differ between Filipino men and women? We chose these research questions because code switching in the Filipino context is not just a linguistic practice, but a reflection of deeper societal norms and gender roles. Language is often shaped by the expectations placed upon individuals by society, and Taglish provides a unique lens to examine this dynamics. Filipino men and women navigate distinct societal pressures in areas like politeness, assertiveness, and professionalism, which may influence how and when they code switch. By investigating the frequency of code switching between genders, we aim to uncover patterns that highlight how language use reflects and reinforces societal roles, offering insights into the intersection of language, identity, and cultural expectations.
Before we dive into our topic, what exactly is code switching? Code switching is the use of more than one language within a conversation. This is when you alternate from language to language, and in our case, we'll be alternating from Tagalog to English or English to Tagalog. So what was the reason for our choice of topic? The three of us speak languages aside from English at home. Jasmine and I, Christine, speak Tagalog, and David speaks Spanish. Reflecting on our use of language, we all related to code switching as a common practice of our own. As so, we decided on Tagalog-English code switching, which piqued our curiosity on the following aspects. At what moment is code switching resorted to, and why? Who uses code switching most often? And how can code switching be tied to cultural identity?
Made about the topic, we found a very interesting article wrote by one author, Bautista. In her article, Tagalog English Code Switching as a Mode of Discourse, written in 2004, she explains that code switching is more than just like the act of physically switching between languages. It's a discourse in conversation. A switch that occurs specifically because of communicative efficiency. It's an effort to enhance communication. One of the most important points made in this article is exactly that. Communicative efficiency is backed up with 4 pieces of evidence. The use of function
Looking at
words,
another piece of literature, we have Lakoff's Language and Women's Place, which was published in 1973. Despite advances in women's rights and gender equality over the years, societal gender roles still exist to this day. Men are seen to be or expected to possess qualities that allow them to be assertive, whereas women are associated with nurturing, emotional qualities, reasoning for more expressive speech. And for this reason, Lakoff came up with the idea of women's language, which is geared to express politeness and accommodation through both choice of vocabulary
where they examined
and
Malaysian English bilingual speakers. In their study, they found that the primary reason for code switching was to convey their identities. Although their findings focused primarily on identity rather than age and gender, in our research, we plan to extend our findings further by looking at how age and gender are related to code switching. This study also inspired us to collect data through analyzing
So how
videos.
did we collect our data?
To find where
For
code
our data
switching
collection,
occurs.
we
We analyzed 17 different videos pertaining to Tagalog English bilingual speakers with a main focus on lifestyle vlogs. We grouped our subjects into their corresponding age categories, such as young adults ranging from 18 to 26 years old, adults ranging from 27 to 35 years old, middle-aged from 36 to 54 years old, and seniors who are 55 and above. Then we compiled a list of participants' name and age, and their gender, and the type of vlog that they posted or used in their videos. Moving on to our data analysis, we found 6 different reasons as to why Tagalog English speakers would use code switching. Number 1 is nouns. So the use of numerical terms was very evident in some of the videos that we saw, and also when referring to like a certain location or just any object or anything that they were referring to. An example of nouns that we found is I just arrived dito sa Singapore, which directly translates to I just arrived here in Singapore. 6 p.m. yung concert. The concert is at 6 p.m. Bibili muna ako ng something. I'm gonna buy something first. Our second reason is intersentential code switching. According to Khalil and Maud, it's code switching between sentences. So if the first sentence were the primary language, for example, Tagalog, they would use a full sentence in Tagalog, and then following sentence would be the secondary language, which in this case would be English. The example that we have for intersentential code switching is, we have a lot of responsibilities. Kailangan natin maging laging malakas, which means we always need to be strong. Take care of ourselves, our health. Then in our third reason, we have adverbs. So the use of adverbs or intensifiers is used when expressing emphasis while code switching. The example that we have is sobrang understanding niya. Sobrang being our adverb, which means super. So the whole sentence means he is super understanding. In our fourth reason, we found discourse marker. So this is used to organize and structure sentences during code switching, which also helps to convey tone. Our example here is, he wants buko pandan. Buko means coconut. And daw, after the buko pandan, so the ending of the sentence, is just basically a discourse that shows that the speaker heard from another person. And it's an information that she is revealing. Then in our fifth reason, we have placeholders. So placeholders are often used to complete.
Moving on to our discussion,
it's during a
about our
pause
findings,
when they're trying
limitations,
to
and future
complete a
directions to the
thought,
study.
when
First, we'll
they
be talking about
aren't
trends
sure
by
of the
age.
specific term
So
that they
for
want
younger
to use.
participants who were aged
So in
from
Tagalog,
18
we
to
have
30
this
years
term
old,
called
we
ano.
noticed that they
Ano
participated in
basically
frequent code switching,
translates to
which
what?
reflects bilingual
But in a
fluency
context such
and
as
normalized
being a
English in their daily
placeholder,
life.
it
On the other
would
hand, we have older
usually
participants who are
help
older than 30 years old,
the
showed a
speaker think
preference
about what
for
they have to say
Tagalog when
next.
speaking about
For the example that
cultural
we
or
have,
family-oriented
pero
topics,
editing room
and
is
that
ano,
they incorporated
essentials for
English
me.
for modern or technical contexts.
It's kind of like saying
Now we'll
the
move on to
editing
trends by
room
gender.
is what's it called?
And so for
essentials for
women,
me.
we noticed that
And
they
usually when
participated
they
frequently in
use
code switching,
placeholders, they end
mainly
up
to
speaking
convey
English
emotions,
or using
whether that
English
was to
to find the terms
emphasize
that they weren't able
certain
to in Tagalog.
words or
And
their
lastly, we
phrases.
have conjunctions.
And we also
So
noticed
conjunctions
that
are used
in
when
many videos
connecting
that we
ideas
watched,
to
women
maintain
were more
fluency
likely
in
to use it casually,
their speech
and it
during
was
code switching.
more part of their regular
The
speech.
example that we
which is
used for
why
conjunctions
for
is,
our data
yeah,
analysis,
so I
we
just
didn't
chill here.
always mark
I don't
down
usually
every
eat
single
anything for
instance in
breakfast
which
kasi
they
wala pa
participated
akong
in
gana
code
sa
switching
umaga.
because it's so regular
Kasi
to them.
means because.
On the other hand, we have men
And
who
wala pa akong gana
use
sa
code switching
umaga
much
means
less
I don't
than
usually
women,
have
and we notice that
the energy in the
men
morning. So
use
the
code
conjunction that we used here
switching
is because
very sparingly.
it
They only used it
is used to kind
for
of
certain phrases.
help
If they wanted to say
explain
a
the
popular
second half
phrase,
of the
such as like
sentence
"not gonna lie"
after it is
at the
being
end of their
said.
sentence, or that men were more likely to use code switching if they were to use it by phrases. As we conclude our presentation, we will quickly go over our key findings and future directions. To summarize, we found that when we looked at gender, women use code switching regularly and expressively, whereas men use code switching sparingly